Okay, we're rolling. All right, wood turners. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan and got my assistant, my boss, on the other end because I can't find the little remote that works this thing. I'll find one soon. But we got a few things we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about it and I'll go over these things. And I got something to show you. You're going to love it. All you got to do right now is watch. Just so you know, boss has never done this work before. And she's over there, all right? So be kind to her. She's pretty, and she got a little bit of suntan yesterday. She's looking really good. So you got to be nice to her, to the boss. And you know, I got to be nice to her because otherwise, well, you don't need to know all the wares. All right. I'm talking about intent. Hey, had a little bit of an impact. I read this morning where the state of Washington has passed a law that says you can't use your cell phone in traffic or stopped at a light and stuff like that. Not in your hand. It has to be handheld, and it's just, man, that's something. You guys, Washington, what do y'all elect good people or what? Because I mean, the only reason the rest of the world doesn't get it is the politicians are on the phones as much as anybody else, so they can't make that change. But if we get like politicians that care more about us than themselves, we have a chance. Something we can work on, can't it? Yeah. Because it just kills me to sit in traffic and know the clown in front of me is on his cell phone instead of turning left when he should have turned left. Oh, man. All right. What's come up in the last couple of weeks? Talking a lot to friends and other folks that are heading to the SWAT. This is a little bit different SWAT than the one with the guys on the television and all that with the guns and jumping down ropes. I've never seen anybody jumping down ropes at SWAT. That's the Southwest Association of Turners. It's a regional symposium. Okay, I can't put a good name on it. You know why? What comes to mind is it's the best group of people around getting together all in one place at one time, and they do it the same place every year, and they don't hang their hat on a bunch of high-name guys and high-priced guys or girls that demonstrate. They go with the best that's out there, and they go with the ones that you want to see, and they go with your input. Why your input? SWAT's made up of about 25 or 30, and they'll correct me if I'm wrong, clubs, wood-turning clubs. It's an association of wood turners, Southwest Association of Turners. SWATURNERS.org. Look, see that thing right there? Yeah, that's where you're going to go. That's their website. You get all the details about it. We show up on a Thursday. We spend the entire day Friday and Saturday at the demonstrations. Sunday morning for a little bit, because you got to go tell people goodbye. You haven't seen them in a year, and you're coming back to see them again. And Saturday night's a big dinner. You're going to love the dinner. And it's not hot dogs and beans. At least I hope it's not. Goodness gracious. They just have this excellent chef with a catering service provide you an awesome meal. But it's cliquish. Yeah. You'll get 40 guys from the wood turners of South Amity, and 30 wood turners from Houston, and 29 wood turners from Arkansas, and 12 wood turners from South Louisiana, and they all get in little cliques. And all be together, and it's cool because then they have kind of clapping contest and how many people are here, who wins what, because you win prizes at that dinner. It's really nice. You'll like it. Go to SWAT and check it out. But I was talking to folks about what's going on at SWAT, and I always get this phone call from guys. They're new turners. You're a new turner. I mean, you're not making a living off of it. That's not what it's about. It's about you having fun and enjoying your retirement and enjoying your life. Okay? Guys call me up. I sanded yesterday and I still got scratches in my stuff. Okay. I normally offend people when I ask this question. Are you using drugstore sandpaper or hardware store sandpaper? And guys will say, oh, I'm getting it from a hardware store. Stop doing that. Why? That's not real sandpaper. That's rocks on a page. and I'll get fussed at by people that say that. But you're dealing with rocks on a page. It's not very consistent. It leaves a whole lot to be desired in what it can do. And what do? You take a sheet this big and you tear it in a little bit of strips and a little bit of pads and all that, and then you push it against the wood and you burn the sawdust off. And you're burnishing the sawdust. If you go with the right, number one, let's start with the right attitude. If you sand straight down, what you're going to do with a piece of paper, you're going to leave marks, scratches. Scratches are your evil. That's the evil in wood coming out. Scratches. You need to get rid of the scratches. So here's the deal, and follow along with me. If I take 80 grit hardware store newspaper sandpaper and scratch the piece down and wear it down, and it looks pretty good, I'm going to step up the 220 and keep going. No. You don't want to do that. No. If you want to get rid of the big scratches and make it all little scratches, what you work with, then you got to go to like a 120 grit, and then maybe a 180 grit, and then a 220 grit, and then a 320 grit, and then a 400 grit. And trust me, I don't go much above 400 on anything that's wood, because God likes wood. He likes it to be sanded. He gets a good finish at it. Now you can go beyond it, but here's the deal: if you're sanding and the paper gets all clogged up, a couple of things are going wrong. Wrong paper or wrong technique. So we're going to bounce back to technique when I said sizes of papers and all. All right. If you go to a rotary or round, a circular disc, instead of sanding straight down, it sands like this. You see that? It puts a swirl in it. A lot less long lines and a whole lot more of curved lines, which you can work because you can cut across one curve, I'll cut across with the next curve. I'll cut across with the next curve. I'll cut across. It really happens that way. If you don't understand it, slow your lathe down, way down. Get out your sandpaper. You can use your 80 grit drugstore paper if you want. Get out your sandpaper and burnish in a spot, roughly, and you'll see the sand marks. Okay? Now, get rid of those marks. If you take 120 grit and go over it, you're going to have the same ridges, except they're going to be a little bit finer. Then you go to the next one, it'll be a little bit finer, a little bit. You're going to have the same ridges. You're going to have some pattern to it. Did you want the pattern? I don't think you did. You want it super smooth, slick, glossy, with chatoyance. I get in trouble over the chatoyance word. Chatoyance. Here it is. Chatoyance. Means cat's eye. That's what it does. You know, you look at a marble, you had marbles, you were kids. You grew up out there riding bicycles without the helmets on, and swings that didn't have any limit. You're a kid. You had a kid. You acted like a kid. You played with marbles. When you looked at the marble, a cat's eye marble, the cat would wink at you. Remember that? Now, come on, think way back. That's when you were a little kid. Wink at you. Well, that's the chatoyance in wood. Wood, almost all woods, have got a chatoyance. It's the ability to reflect light. Now, how do you get that ability out of the wood? It's always there. You have to expose it with good sanding. So you sand it with the 80 grit, and then you sand it with the 120 grit, then the 180 grit, then the 220 grit, then the 320 grit. You see where I'm going with this? Every time you sand, you're not in the same groove. You're all over the place, and you're sanding across and down at the same time. The swirl, which means you're getting a better sand. You're removing material in a more efficient manner. You're nicer to your sandpaper, or your disc, or your pads. You really are. Now, there's a lot of stuff about, and I talked about sanding with wax. It all involves the same thing. Sanding with wax, sanding with water. Any way you lubricate that pad, it's all the same. That's just lubrication. But in the general gist of sanding, a lot of guys miss this. Most of us came from a woodworking background. We made the little table to go in on the patio. and we sanded the hell out of it to get it smooth, and then we painted it with that white house paint. I mean, that's what we did. I mean, that's just how life was. Now we're doing wood turning. I got the sandpaper on my belt, on my pad sander out there. I can use that. I don't have to go. Yeah, you do. If you want a really nice detail, you want really good finish, you want something slick and shiny, you want to put a simple finish on it, you have to sand it right. So let's start with paper. I like the round paper. I use a 2-inch disc. Now, a friend of mine sells sandpaper. He sold it to me a 1-inch disc, 2-inch disc, 3-inch disc. He's got others. He's got pads and bundles and boxes. He's got everything made for abrasives. I like the 2-inch disc. Why? Well, because I can put them in my shirt pocket. She ain't around. I put them in my shirt pocket, let it go to the laundry. It gets washed, it comes back, and it's all cleaned up. But I get a little fussy and I have to leave my junk in my clothes. But I like the 2-inch disc because it's versatile. I use a soft pad, not a hardback pad, a soft pad, just a little bit spongy. I don't need a lot of interface pads with it. Just, I'm not that nuts all about the detail at all. I am about the finish. So I use the round ones and I apply them. Yeah, let me see. Maybe I can explain this with a picture a little bit here. Okay, I think you can see that. 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And that was pretty good for a guy with a brain dead. That's brain dead. All right. I apply the pressure for the pad right up in here, between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, or between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, down on that corner. Why not up here and up here? Because I don't want it pulled out of my hand and spun around. So I'm going to go at where I get the least resistance to fighting me, and that is touching it on the bottom third, in the bottom. When you do that, and I did say slow your lathe down, and I really want you to do that. When you do that, you'll get a better sand, a better cut, better wood removal, better finish, slicker, nicer, and when you put your finish on, chatoyance is the winner. That's what you do. It's not as simple as rubbing sandpaper against it. Never getting that drill. I don't know of a powered sander that works as well as an unpowered sander. Unpowered sander. Oh, what is that? I heard them called centrifugal sanders. I've heard them called orbital, not orbital, because orbital is all right. They're just non-powered sanders. I take at Big Eye Productions, we sell a ball bearing and a bushing, and on our website we have directions on how to make the handle. That's pretty simple. But you look at it and you go, why not know that? All right. You make the handle, you get the sander, you get the disc and the pad. I get mine from Vince's Wooden Wonders. I got to spell it out because if you spell it wrong, you'll end up with some idiot that's copying his name. Vince's Wooden, W-O-D-N, Wonders. And his link is on my website. Alright, I get that. I order the pad. Now, it's a pad and it's got a shaft on it. The shaft is round. It can be octagonal, it doesn't matter, or hexagon. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's round and it fits into a 1/4-inch sleeve. Because you're going to have a bushing that holds a 1/4-inch sleeve. You're going to have a ball bearing that's magnetic that'll hold it in that sleeve. Yeah, one of you guys told me about that ball bearing being magnetized. A guy out of Texas, and really, I can't remember the names of my grandkids. I can't remember his name. But I do remember he was a really nice wood turner. He says, why don't you try this? And I ordered the ball bearings, magnetized ball bearings. And you get the sleeve and the bearing and you make the thing up. And you got a great tool. And it's in your shop and you can make it. And if it doesn't come out right, you take your hammer, you hit it one time, you break it away, and you still got the bushing in the ball bearing, and you build another one. And you build one where it's straight out the front to do platters and plates. And you do one that comes out the side, you get on the inside of jars. I've never tried to do a reverse one, don't have really need for it. But it works simple, and it gives you that round sanding. That's what you're looking for, that round sanding. It removes the material, it doesn't burn paper. Now, get this, you can sand the heck out of wood, and you'll burnish it. You will wear the paper out. you will pack it with sawdust or sanding dust or whatever you want to call it. You will pack it with it and you rub it on it and your wood feels smooth. And then what are you going to do? You're going to put a finish on it. And what's not going to hold? The finish. What's not going to look good? The finish. Where the Chateaubriand's at? Way down in there, buried in the bottom. Can't see it. So, when you want a great looking reflective finish, and I've got some pieces on my website, some pieces I put on YouTube that are coco bolo that look like they're glass or they're poured, they got resin in them. None of that. It doesn't have resin for a finish. It's got super glue for a finish. Yeah, super glue. Let me get on that horse for 1 second. I'm talking super glue. I'm talking a real thin super glue. I think it's called EO3. It's from Starbond, STARBOND.com. Those are the folks you got to talk to about your glue. Why? They know the glue. But I'll put a coat on with that. I use the thin because the thick, well, how do you say this? If I go with the thick, it's going to take too long to dry. It's going to trap everything else around it. The moisture won't be allowed to escape. And it's just not a great finish. Alright, all you guys that believe it's faster, that's okay. I'll let you have that belief. You know. But if you want a great finish, it's 1 drop of super glue. Spread across. And there's some tips to that, and I got some videos on that. On how to do super glue and make it look good. What super glue can make for an awesome, bulletproof finish. I really mean it. If you build up enough, it'll pull a bounce off that stuff. It's hard. Crunch on it. I mean, it's hard. That's what's great. It's so hard that the oil that's on your fingers, oil from people touching it, the oil from being out in public, won't damage the finish. It's awesome that way. It's the only, and really, it's the only one I know that works that way. Really. Okay, told you about the grits on the hardware, on the sandpaper, the crayons, and I get mine from Vince. Copycats. That Vince gets way too much money from me. Why? Because I gotta have the better than sandpapers and better grits and all that. And really, I don't need the top of the line. I need the right one. So if you talk to Vince, tell him what you're doing. He knows. And he understands it too. So it's about the CA and all that. Oh, somebody told me this week they ordered a CBN wheel. What's a CBN wheel? A CBN wheel is a new form of grinding grit. Now, it's CBN, and I can't remember what the 3 letters stand for. Can't be nice, CBN? I know that they did. Alright, here's the deal. CBN is a grit. They apply to the face of a wheel. And then you grind with it to sharpen your tools. Now, this is not an 80 grit wheel, or a 60 grit wheel, or a 36 grit wheel that comes on your sander, on your grinder. No, it's like 150 and 320. Now, what's great about that? I don't need to reshape my tools every time I sharpen them. I need to sharpen my tools. And everything that goes off that grinding wheel and goes on the floor doesn't get to see my tools. See where I'm going? If I grind away my tools, I'm going to have to buy more tools, and they're going to be less sharp than they normally would be. So what do? I have the 150 or so on one side, and I have the higher one on the other side. If I have to shape a tool, I'll go to the 150. Take my time. It doesn't heat up. It doesn't load with carbon and all that. And then I go to the other side and put the finish edge on it. But when I'm doing a gouge, it only seeds the higher grit. Why? I'm just putting enough edge back on it. I'm using a guide every time, like the Black Hawk sharpening jig. If I do that, I get one pass, and I'm sharp. I'm not grinding and grinding and grinding. I loved it when I went to Airmont. I'd watch a guy go stand on the grinder for 10 minutes fixing his tool. What are you doing? That's a whole lot of tool on the floor. But hey, the guy teaching class, old tools. It's all right. He can sell you another one. Me, I gotta buy mine, and I don't want to buy one all the time. So I just sharpen them, put them in a jig, set it up right. One pass, look at it. If I redress that edge, I'm fine. I don't need to reshape it. I don't need to have it cupped and dipped and all that. I'm just gonna redress the edge. That's the beauty of sharpening, is when you get it down to where it's a deal. A tool's dull, go over, get my jig, set it up, 2-inch, come back and go cutting again. There's been times when I haven't even turned the grinder off. Really. It runs low power, runs quiet, doesn't hurt anything. I just keep the jig handy. Maybe every 5 to 10 minutes I have to sharpen up a little bit. But remember, if you're cutting the wood, your tools have to be sharp. If you're just chewing it away, you can use a shovel. But the shovel leaves a lot of dips and grooves that you can't deal with in your finish. And you talk about a sanding nightmare. If it's all gouged up, it's your tools. And it's how you're presenting your tools. Now, tell you what, there's some guys on television or YouTube or whatever that'll show you to picking up their tools and hanging a big heavy plow across a piece. That ain't life. That's not how life is going to be. When you want the sharp tools to cut right, what comes off is going to look like little ribbons, little slivers. If it's coming off in chunks, you're tearing it off. Little ribbons, little slivers. From the start to the end. First thing I do when I find round is start shaping the piece from that smooth round spot. And then you can work with it and you come back to it. But that's something about sharpening tools. Good wheel. I get mine at D-Way Tools. Dave at dwaytools.com. Dave knows grinders. Well, Dave builds great tools. He builds tools. And when they come out of the shop, it's in Dave's hands. And he knows it's not all moved up and all that. It's pretty good shape. He's not buying them from a company and he's hoping they come in all right and they got a plastic sleeve on them and they go out the door. That ain't Dave. Nope. These come through his hand. So if you call him up and say, Dave, my thing looks like crap, you're talking to the guy that said it looks all right. He's going to fix it for you. So, talk about CBM wheels. I told you about the SWAT. I'll tell you about that one more time. SWAT is the last weekend in August. And this year, we're taking the entire Big Guy production team to SWAT. Management is bringing me, and then she's bringing Steve, Missy, and the boys. That's the assembly team. The guys that make the tools, and the brackets and the mounts and all that stuff. They make all this stuff. We had to sub it out. I can't do it anymore. But we're bringing the entire team up to Waco because they want to be experienced in wood turning. And we want to show them what it's really about. And that's where you can see it. That's where those boys can actually put their hands on the tool and try a lathe. You can too. Here's my invite. You want to try a machine? Go to SWAT. You want to see how that robust acts up? Go to SWAT. Acts up. Did I say acts up? No. The robust is an awesome machine. Awesome. If I play my cards right, I got a chance I can get one for me. But then management's got to prove their purchase, and you got to hear all the stories and all that. Well, you know the deal. But that's all happening at SWAT. You'll see wood turning from ink pens, the bottle stoppers, to the bowls for the bead challenge, the beads of courage, all that. A gallery that's unbelievable. I mean, all right. Management walked around last year and said, "Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? How come you don't do that?" Hey, your first visit to the gallery, leave the wife over by the soft drink machines. Okay? Check it out so you don't take it to something that you don't want to do or can't do. But then, guess what? You can go ask the guy that did it. And he'll be glad to come walk over with you, pick it up, show it to you, tell you how he made the cut, where the wood came from, how he laid the pieces up, how he put the finish on, and that is where you see awesome work complete. Awesome finishes. I'm not talking about the high price stuff, I'm talking awesome stuff. And they're right there with you in the gallery to show you what you want to see. And if you want to buy something, hey, go for it. Most of these guys are very proud of their work. They're not all there to make a buck. They're there to be just like you and I. We're together, we're talking wood turning, we're having a good time, and it's SWAT, Southwest Association of Turners. And here's the website again. You go right there, and you can get your registration and all. I'm on fine. This year I told her I couldn't get into the hotel we usually use, and we're going to the Hilton. I think it's Hilton. It's connected to the convention center, but this is a college football town. There's hotels everywhere. It's not hard to find, and it's a really nice place. Folks are nice, and if you're into this decorating your house, they got all these places and galleries and things, and they take field trips. Not you, them. The people that brought you came with you. They can take field trip. You know, there's a sewing get together downstairs in the convention center where these ladies sit together and sew and do stuff. I don't know. I didn't get anything out of that. And I sat through just blood on my fingertips. But it's an awesome celebration of people. Now, did all that, talked about it. I got to throw the commercial in. I have to, really. As much activity as this time of the year, this is Big Eye Productions' slowest part of the year. Why? We figured out. Management and I have been sharing this company for 5 years, 6 years, something like that. She runs 90% of it. In fact, since I got hurt, or I got injured, or got sick, or whatever, she runs the whole thing. When you call the phone, I'm the guy that answers the phone. Yeah, it'll go to my voicemail. Leave me a message. Don't say, oh, they'll never call me back. I'll call you back. Leave me a message and a phone number. But we're a little family business. The whole operation takes place right behind these windows. Yeah, not that big. 10,000 cutters, bags, packs, and all that stuff. That's what we have. We got 10 shapes of carbide cutters that fit 90% of the tools on the market. Now, if you're looking to take a high-speed steel cutter and replace it with carbide, I might not be able to match it. But all my dimensions, unlike some other people in this industry, all my dimensions for my cutters are on my website. So if you need a 10.7 millimeter square cutter, measure yours, look at my website, and there it is. 10.7 by 10.7 cutter. Most of these cutters are made for another industry, so they're available. We have them manufactured for us, in particular for us. We don't do the little thin 12 millimeter, we do a thicker 12 millimeter. Why? Because we heard from our clients early on that the little thin ones were cracking. So we had a thicker one made. We tried for a thick one on the other one, and we couldn't get it bound up to the tool just right. But we keep playing with this. We consult the engineer to make sure the process is right, the materials are right, the epoxy is right. We get them manufactured. It takes me about a month to start a new line and get a replacement in. But it's something we do. We have all those cutters. We have the template for laying out your segments. That's a great deal. You can even see that on combos. We have the bars for mounting the cutters too. We have a special on a Black Hawk sharpening rig. Now, this is a sharpening rig you can't buy anywhere else. And you know when you hear that on a commercial, you instantly say, what are they doing? I mean, how can they say that? We can say that. When I got into it and started sharpening tools, I found out that that initial setup of that Black Hawk is so critical. And that's where that bar goes in at, what the height of the pedestal is, how far it is from tool face. All that is extremely critical to getting the same grind over and over and over and over again, and not throwing a whole bunch of steel on the floor. So I came up with a way to set that bar. We call it AccuSet. It's not a patented thing, it's an AccuSet. You see it and you think about it, you'll understand it. Nobody else does it. Why? You sell tools. We don't sell tools. I don't sell a single thing that fits in the Black Hawk grinding rig. I think I do. Nope, don't. Okay. So when you want to get it done, when I wanted to get it done, I went to this rig. We have it for $100 including the freight to the USA. To the USA. Boy, I tell you what, shipping out of the United States is a pain in the butt. We still do it, but you got to bear with us. And you got to give us the perfect address to mail something to you. Not the one you typed into PayPal just because it's sending it or something. Send us your real good address. Because when it's all said and done, it ain't me, it ain't those nice folks at the USPS, it's the people at your post office have to give it to you. We get calls back, you mailed it to me, I didn't get it. I mailed it to your company. How many people work there? Who else could have got it and said, oh, these were trinkets or junk, and threw it away? So, well, we're going to go to the best address thing, okay? And that goes to the rest of y'all too. Make sure you fill out your PayPal thing online. The address is the same one that you get your paycheck sent to, or the same one that your mama writes to, or the same one you get your girlfriend's notes at. That's what you want. The best address. That's it. See, we live in old Jefferson, Louisiana. Now, when you go to the map thing and you type in Old Jefferson, it puts you in some little neighborhood up in Baton Rouge. We're not in Baton Rouge. We still live in the South. We're right outside of New Orleans. On a good day, I can throw a rock to New Orleans. But I have to put Jefferson, Louisiana, 70121 on my postage. 701 tells people I'm in New Orleans. So the computer services all automatically say New Orleans. I'm telling you, correct the address. Get it right. You're getting something you paid for. You've already paid for it. It's on its way. And we ship it as soon as we can. We don't hold it and sit on it and wait for the big pile and all that. It comes out as soon as we can. Now sometimes we run out, we gotta apologize. We run out as soon as we get the order in. The order's already placed. As soon as the order comes in, we ship it. We ship the balance. We don't hold up the whole thing for it. And if we know this when we take your order, we'll tell it to you. That's it. Now, if you need bars, cutters, template, those things, we have it. It's all at eddiecastellan.com. Come and visit, see what we have, shop around, and if I can help you, drop me a note. And my email address is on that website, CAPN, eddiecastellan @gmail.com. This one. And it shows up at the end of the video. So, if that's it, I gotta make sure. Oh yeah. I think we got all the notes I had. Oh no. Man, I am so negligent. Oh man. Colin Lofton. And Colin, you send me something, print your name, because I can't read this. C-O-L-I-N Lofton. Colin Laughlin. Man, it's a nice note and all that, but really what he sent me, right here. Colin was a gentleman. I mean, I get things from word turners all the time. This is an ink pen. Can we zoom in there, Alice? In the other end. Right there. That's good. You see it? You see the stratas? That's plywood. Yeah, that's a plywood ink pen. It's a trim line. Very nice tolerance this time, Colin, because tolerance is the key. Here's the other one. Got to turn around right. If you can read that, it says Captain Eddie Castellan making shavings. Now, I saw on YouTube last night that Colin did this for the other guy. You know what I'm talking about. And then he did this one for me. This is really nice. If you can see it, if you're old Air Force, it seems familiar. But if you're new Air Force, it's very familiar. It's the Air Force logo, and then he went to my website and he captured a photograph of me and 8 of my buddies when we were in Okinawa in 1969. Zoom back out again, please. Yeah, he took that picture from my website and put it on the pen. It's fine work, Colin, really is. Put them in these nice cases too. I wish I could find it. Oh, there we go. Right. Very nice. I received a lot of things. Everything I received from you guys is special. Have it on the side. The guy sent me a knife a while back. Really fine work. Really fine work. So, guess that catches us up. I hope you get out and you shop real soon. If you need something, try me. See if we can help you out. Really. We have the lowest prices on cutters on the planet, but hey, some people think they got to shop beyond that. No, right here. We're right here. We're helping you out. We'll do what's necessary. You can always call the phone number that's at the end of the tape. That gets you to my phone. All I have to do is find it. Yeah, I came out here too much of a rush. Alright. I'm out of here heading to the shop making shavers. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You be good now.